Hello, everyone, and Happy New Year's! And today we're going to be hopping into our gladiators, ramping up the speed, and going back over this year. And then, of course, going into the future and seeing what we want to see.
What we want to see. We're going alternative dimensions now. Right, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that keep this simple. We're going to have a look at one thing that we didn't like last year, one thing that we did like last year, and then one thing we're looking forward to next year. All right, so Algared's over your old man.
Algared.
Yep, I'm Execute. Forget. Yeah, did you forget who I was? Anyway, and that's Dyson. All right, so Algared's over his old man disease from our previous recording, so you can go first.
Yep, so the first thing that I disliked was the Phoenix. Actually, the thing that I hated most was the Phoenix. Now, I know that they promised the world, and they gave us iron pyrite. The midsection looks great, but it doesn't deliver on everything that was promised. And while you could understand some of those things not being given, it's just, for the extra price you paid, it was a big letdown.
Yep, agreed. I think the ship, and what I was trying to say is luxury is I still don't think luxury is in a good place for me. I think I'll leave it at that without elaborating of all the things I've said in the past. So I'll leave it there.
The big thing is CIG could have gotten away with luxury ships with nice interiors, but focusing on performance. There's performance luxury, and then there is luxury. In a video game, luxury is, it's cool aesthetics, but it really serves no practical purpose that will actually help anyone. Performance is where you need to go.
See, I can actually warrant the purchase of something that's performance-based because you know it's going to come with performance-based components. So therefore they cost more. So therefore they're worth paying more for initially, especially if you're going to attack LTO in the end.
Well, that's one of the things they're saying with the Phoenix now, that it comes with performance parts, but that's in light of what was originally promised, which was bigger power plants and bigger shields and bigger weapons. That now comes with performance components. And while that is good, in Star Citizen, we know that performance parts also wear out quicker. So you've got these good parts that wear out quicker, and which the other constellations can equip as well. Like, what are you still paying the $150 extra for?
Kind of makes sense in something more like a racing ship rather than 890 jump or a constellation, because you're more likely to wrap the racing craft around a tree, so to speak, and crash it more frequently, aren't you? So you're going to want to replace it and get those parts back instead of continually paying for performance parts.
And part of the reason why the constellation had the bigger power plant was because it had the extra parts. It had the point defense turret. It had the larger weapons. And so it's still got the point defense turret, apparently, but it's still got the same power plant as a regular constellation. It's got smaller missiles than a regular constellation instead of more size 2s. Everything, it was supposed to be the piece de resistance of a constellation line, and it's not.
All right. We're going to spend too long on this, I can tell, so let's move on to the next one.
No,
Dyson.
I'm done.
Yep, cool. Dyson, next one. Let's go.
Warbond. And I really have to state this. Warbond. When you have to now pay for LTI with Warbond, you're devaluing cash. When it was cool, a slight discount, and then you had some cool flair, awesome, interesting, but you're now taking away one of the big components of that and devaluing old money quick. I know you need new money, CIG, but the point is, we aren't infinite money bags, you might say. And
this has also been exacerbated. I can't even speak today.
Exacerbated.
Yeah, what you said. By the fact the Australian government brought in a 10% GST on everything that's online, so it's also gone up by 10% for all Australians. So Algared and I will both tell you that most people I know have really reined in their spending, because every time they lose $100 over nothing, they're also losing the 10% tax they paid on that for nothing. And once you get into $1,000, you've got to spend an extra $100 just in tax, and then an extra 10% on that is gone because CIG said so. So it all starts to accumulate, and it's kind of nasty. Also, the Australian dollar's not at a good place at the moment, so it actually eats in more. So something like $1,000 almost ends up costing $2,000, and I'm not even kidding. It's pretty drastic for us at the moment. And yes, that is a big price point, $1,000, but I'm just trying to give you one that scales properly. So
I think for us, $1,000 US is like $1,300, and then we get the Australian tax on the $1,000 US, and so that adds up. And if we're doing warbond, that's fine. But if we're doing, I used to put money aside. I used to buy little gift cards, and then melt them when I was ready and buy what I wanted. But now to buy a gift card, I'm copying that 10%. I'm then if I'm using gift cards, I'm also copying a further 10% cost. It's just not worth it.
No.
So I stopped buying gift cards.
Well, again, it just makes it harder for anyone to reevaluate their fleet with some new additions. Like a new ship comes in, great. And again, you can't even use partial new money to do it. Like say, hey, I'll give you a little bit and toss this in. You can't even do that. So that's just, again, painful.
And the fact that the LTI only comes on the new concept ships bought with real, fresh money, that hurts. Like, I've got to the point I don't buy ships if I don't have LTI. That's just me. I know LTI is a small thing, but
in a weird way, CRG are not going to care though, because they've got your money. They don't care what ships you have. They just want your money. So it's a bit of a weird situation to be in. Anyway, we'll move on because this is a very deep subject that we could talk about, and we have in the past for quite a long time. Mine is a little hard to explain. It's got a couple of pieces to it, but mine was kind of the removal of Gamescom and the holiday live stream, and only really having one big presentation this year. And then the presentation itself was really amalgamation of everything we'd already seen. There wasn't really anything super breathtaking on news. And the way I talk about it is I usually get goosebumps when I watch CitizenCon. I'm like, oh yeah, that was so cool. And the only time I got that this year was when I saw the Defender internals. I was like really pumped, and yeah, so that was the only time I got it this year.
No, you're wrong. You actually told us. You actually got it when they showed you the DNA face stuff.
I did too. I did actually. I did. Okay, I take
that
back.
And that was a big. I mean, and that was also big.
Talking about the CitizenCon actual presentation, like that big Keystone presentation. I think a lot of that, there's a lot of parts to it. I think it's because they're doing the quarterly releases now. They obviously need more time on development, and it actually takes up time on development to make those things, so I understand. But I do think I would have, rather than this big CitizenCon, and I've said this before, I would rather they just have a live stream from one of their offices once a quarter. As the patch comes out, they go, all right, we're going to release the patch. Here's a stream. Here's all the new shit. And I'd rather that than this huge big conference that only a small segment of the population can go to. And I think it would be a lot more of a celebration if we can all get involved via live stream than just this local thing. And I think it's a little bit like Algared said, where it seems to be done more for the developers and to perk up their stuff, but not all the developers can go either. But that might be why they move it from place to place. So they
also chose a terrible day because they did it midweek, not the end of the week, where people can actually watch. Like, I had school and didn't get back until basically the entire thing was over. So there's no actual getting participate in the live stream stuff. That live, I know it's a minor thing, but live stream chat is a lot of fun.
Yep, it is indeed.
It can be, but you look at the way here the developers talk about CitizenCon after the event, and they're always pumped. And if that gives your developers and the game designers that infusion of I'm ready for the big push. I'm ready. I can do it again. I'm looking forward to this. Man, that's probably worth it.
The only weird thing is,
and if a live stream doesn't do that, then
most developers are only going to get to go to it once every 4 years, because it's only the big wigs that get taken to CitizenCon. Let's be honest. So I think there's some questionable things about that, where if it's a live stream and they actually just gave all the developers the day off and everyone could actually, you could talk to all the developers, like you could actually go into different virtual chat rooms and stuff like that, that would be way cooler, because then you could actually interact with them all the time type of thing. But anyway. Alright, so that's our negatives. Should we go on to the positives then? Do you want to go first this time? Dyson.
Execute.
Big thing for me, quarterly releases. I thought it was absolutely amazing that they actually kept the schedule. I didn't think they're going to do it. I really didn't think they're going to do it. Yes, they delayed it a little bit here and there, but overall, having 4 solid releases instead of just this huge dry period like the previous year where you're living on a horrible patch, and just getting a little bit of new content, it made things fresh and interesting. Loved it.
They did do it exactly kind of like they said they were going to do it, where if they didn't have it ready to go in time, they just pushed out what they had. And the last release really is a signature of that, like 3.4. We're at 3.4. Oh, I forgot the numbers now. There's so many numbers now. But is literally just a branch of the previous one. Yeah, so it won't reconnect until first quarter next year, which I think is going to be the real big patch we were kind of been waiting for. Like, I know Lorville's been added, but it's going to have a lot of optimizations and stuff like that. And I'm looking forward to some of the actual gameplay more than I am locations, to be honest.
Whereas I think
that's the big one for me.
Sorry, and I think the 3 what?
3.6.
3.6. Right.
Yeah, he's not a New Zealander.
That's all good. All good.
So I think the big patch was with container streaming. You know, that was what really made that patch. It wasn't Lorville, it was the fact that it had the container streaming. And you saw just the frame rates just go through the roof.
So is that your positive? 3.6?
No, I was just commenting on
3.6 hasn't happened yet. That's in Q. That's
no, I was commenting
Q2
on your
next
positive.
year. Remember right?
Oh, this is why I pushed talk. My cough is back with a vengeance. Anyway, all right then, Algared. What is your positive from last year?
My positive from last year, I think, is actually also the patch. I think that the locations, I like going to the different locations. There are problems with them. Lorville is a nightmare to travel in. But it's still okay as long as you don't die midstream.
It's taking up to 15 minutes to cross the universe now, and it's not even a universe. It's not even half a solar system. So it scares me to think, like, when we get that solar system done, and then they add a second one, it's like, oh shit, it's going to take me 3 hours to get to the other side. Oh god. Like, it's going to start to be like that. You're going to be like, oh shit, how big is this game?
I do think some of the travel times are a little excessive. I'm just going to state that. And I'm not talking about the quantum times. I'm talking about atmosphere times, people.
Yeah, the atmosphere stuff is going to get old really quickly. As I said, trying to get some of those big ships in. Actually,
30 minutes.
The atmospheric fright at the moment, even in combat ships, is god awful. Try flying a Super Hornet and the cockpits are automatically opening and closing, and trying to keep bullets on the pips, like the pips are out of alignment. The SP is completely all off.
Hard to all has no HUD at all.
Yeah, it's some of the stuff is really bad, but it's all been let go because we know it's all going to be fixed next patch. So next patch, man, that flight model better be the bomb, and I reckon it will be from the things that I've been hearing. So fingers crossed. All right, my positive. I honestly can't really think of one. I think for me, it's a bit like that. Like I had a lot of things come out and they weren't as what I expected them to be. Like I was really looking forward to things like the Hammerhead, but then they come out and then they were not what I wanted them to be. And what I mean by that was the gameplay was not where I wanted it to be. Like, I was waiting this year. Like, the big patch for me was in June when they were adding salvaging and refueling. And now that's pretty much 12 months away. Like, it got delayed that long. Mining is the first gameplay I think we saw. I was kind of happy with it at tier 0, but it's a little grindy for me, as in it's going to be much better gameplay when you've got someone to hand those saddlebags off to. And let's be honest, I don't play games that are multiplayer to play by myself. So I'm really looking forward to that multiplayer stuff with other people. And things like the turrets were a letdown for me. Just all the things that were working with other people that I was expecting this year didn't come through. So I know I'm kind of saying negatives, but it's because the positives I was looking forward to just didn't turn up. I have to say that the object container streaming is probably the biggest plus for me, though, if I really think about it. Real optimize the game and the breakthrough tech and the pillars of the game, of the core tech of the game, are almost all there. We only need server meshing and we're kind of really good. Nothing holding up Squadron 42. If that's out in 2 years,
the AI.
The AI, yeah. So yeah, other than that, there are a lot of mini positives for me this year, but no real big one, probably other than object container streaming.
All right, so what are you then looking forward to next year the most?
Give me a minute to think about it. How about Algared go next?
It's a hard one to think of what I'm looking forward to most. More information about Squadron 42, since it's getting so close. But in Star Citizen, I think the professions, the refueling and salvage.
Yeah, that's probably, believe it or not, what I'm kind of looking forward to as well. I've been waiting for gameplay for years. Like years. And that's because it's one of the last things they put in. They've got to build all the tech, and then the gameplay is just this little thing that goes on top almost. It's hard to believe that there's so much, all this underground work that needs to happen just to get what we actually live in, so to speak, when we play the game. But that is fundamentally game development in a nutshell. You know, and people often wonder why it takes so long, and it's because you've got to update the entire engine to do with new technology. You can't just, you know, that's why you get these games that basically look like they're made in 2005, but the gameplay is amazing because they've just kept using that engine. And a really bad example that we've seen this year was Fallout 76. They've just kept using that thing until it dies, and it hasn't died, but they're just pushing it. Like it's on a walking frame, and they're still pushing it. You know,
it's like Al.
Yeah, I don't know if you're on a walking frame, but yeah, close enough. My whole point being is, like, the development of this game was always going to take longer than it ever took anything else because it's just such a bigger game in scope. For me, there is not as many people working on the Persistent Universe. Most of them are working on Squadron 42. So until a couple of years from now and that thing gets pushed out the door, we're not going to see these huge movements in Squadron 42. I just don't think one of the reasons why they've kind of not put
the
game.
PU?
Yeah, well, the PU. One of the reasons they haven't put gameplay into the PU is because they've all been working on Squadron 42, and therefore any game they put in, when they say tier 0, it's because they might want to change it. You know what I mean? Like, if they put something in and it doesn't work in both games, they're going to need to change it. All that type of things. Squadron comes first. It's one of the things we've heard them say so many times over and over. Dyson, what's yours?
AI. Hands down AI. AI will make or break not only Squadron 42, but the Persistent Universe, because the majority of things that people are going to be interacting with are NPCs. So if the NPCs can't actually fight, walk, make the cities feel real, and they keep bugging out, multiplying, T-posing, I mean, that is what's going to make or break the gameplay, not just the type mining or salvage, all that. Yeah, that's cool, but if you don't have people to interact with, you're going to have to rely on the AI.
Yeah. I was playing today, I saw probably 5 people, and they were at Olisar. That was it. Most of the time, I didn't see anyone.
One of the things we were talking about before the show, so just to bring people up to speed, we were talking about a little bit about P versus P, and one of the things I was thinking about while you guys were talking and I was listening on the other side of the room was that 90% of the universe is going to be NPCs, so when pirates go to do stuff, they're not going to necessarily run into humans all that often. They're going to be just stealing stuff from, NPCs, and humans will be doing the same. When they're getting attacked, they'll probably most likely be attacked by AI anyway. So it's going to be interesting to see how many human interactions we actually have.
It's one of my concerns because I actually prefer the human touch just a little bit, because I really hate walking around in the Persistent Universe and never running into anyone.
They have
Like,
actually said, though, that they're going to try and steer humans towards each other, whether it's with quests or stuff like that. So if you take a cargo quest, a pirate might get a counter quest to specifically target you. And vice versa, if you're going out to look at a cargo box, someone else might be getting the same quest. And we've seen it already in ones for the down satellite quests and stuff like that. I know they showed that at CitizenCon, but I'm actually saying I've seen real people playing it, and they go out there and someone's ship's already there, and they shoot their ship and get a crime stat, kill the guy, take the cargo, and complete the mission, and then they've got to go clear their crime stat. So I have seen it.
Oh, I've had people take my mission. Like, I get there, and someone's just finished it. And so there is that.
I've accepted it. I've had it accepted, and then literally after I've accepted it, it's come straight up and said failed because the person's completed it on the other side. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else to add, Algared? Sorry?
No, I was just going to say, but that's the way it is, isn't it?
Yeah. I guess for me, the big thing and the reason I guess I keep following this game is the community. So that's probably going to be the thing I'm looking forward to most. Talking to people about this game. That's what I enjoy doing. I enjoy this game, and I enjoy hanging out with all you guys. I enjoy interacting with the community, and that's just something I will continue to look forward to. As for the game itself, I am looking really forward to the Defender. Hopefully looking to some more Banu stuff and Carrick stuff later on in the year. And obviously the gameplay, like Algared mentioned. And I think I'll leave it at that. It's short and sweet.
Yep.
Sounds good.
So,
is that everything? Should we wrap up?
well, that is everything. I just want to say, everyone, thank you for this great year. Thanks for watching. Have a good New Year's, and spend some time with your family, friends. Enjoy it.
I don't know what to say. I'm tongue-tied.
He wants us to go away from our computers and spend time with real people.
You want to spend time with people, you weirdo?
I know.
Well, I'm
Scary,
just
isn't
saying,
it?
this is a great game, but you know,
For one, welcome our robot overlords. All right, guys.
Hey Google, are you a robot overlord?
I've got my headphones on. He likes to try and control my Google. Anyway, that's been Algared. That's been Bouncing Dyson. I've been Execute, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Take care.